Welcome everyone to the first ever Straw Hat Pecan off meta tournament, a box tournament competing for PRBO1 with the spiciest deck. Let's see what spice can prevail here at Akihabara Bazaar, my friend's store. Let's see the list. Here is the very simple list, banned and allowed leaders. Also, one thing to mention is the PRBO1 Sanji is not listed here. He is banned. The 8-drop Gekko Moria is a banned character that is an addition to the regular Bandai banned card list, right? We're still operating on the banned list from Bandai themselves, so no reject, no Sakazuki, no RP Law, right? All of those are banned. Sanji's the only leader on here that's not listed on here that is banned. So the tournament consisted of 16 players. Winning person getting the box of PRBO1, and then the rest of top 8 getting prizing. And then we were able to get at least one pack for everyone to pull some goodness at the end. So a couple of things to go over real quick before we start rolling the games. I had 2 cameras, one for the undefeated table, one for just a very spicy matchup that I wanted to highlight and showcase. Some people brought some pretty interesting decks. There were a lot of repeats, and I know some people might say this leader should have been banned, this should have been allowed. I wanted just as spicy as we could get, but I fully understand that this being the first tournament that I'm able to host, it's going to be a little bit wonky, okay? I'll have the cameras labeled so you guys know who is undefeated and who is going for just a fun matchup. I'll have the deck list for the winner at the end, and we also have showcasing all the stuff they pulled from the box. So very exciting things to look forward at the end of this video. But again, thanks to my friends over at Akihabara Bazaar here in Jersey. If y'all are ever looking for a store to check out, a great place. And also thanks to everyone who came out. A lot of these people are just people from my locals. Love to see that they could come out to this special event that I could host. Thanks to all of you guys watching the YouTube videos. I was able to put this on, so huge shout out. And if you all are ever looking to buy cards off a TCG player, again, my affiliate link is in the comments and the description. If you want to support the channel, use the link if you're going to buy cards from there. It helps me out a bit, helps me do more stuff like this. But let's get into some of the matches. All right, so with round 1 going on, I realize this, it's a little bit shaky. I know. I will try to fix the camera in post as much as I can. Again, hopefully the setup is better for the next tournament. We got Hannibal, which surprisingly was a leader that I didn't expect to be very popular, but ended up being a few people's choice for this. And then the SD Luffy, right? The Sarek Luffy attached a Restodon to one of your characters. Pretty straightforward, some red rush going on, right? But I was very excited to be able to host this. As soon as I started my channel, this was something that I really wanted to. Shaman Man on the right, showing y'all the hand. And I was very thankful for, the YouTube doing well, so I could host one of these tournaments for the people in my locals, just get some PRB packs, some boxes into the hands of people that show up to locals, play with a lot of these people for a long time. And it was just nice to be able to do something like that, right? And then make this cool video. So he's picking up the Sanji from the Nami search. I believe that's the Sanji out of the Three Brothers starter deck. So Hannibal going to 3-Don, playing the Ivankov to cheat out a Buggy. So looking for that Impel Down archetype. And if you're not familiar with Hannibal, which I wasn't, and why I didn't think many people will be running him, but I guess the ramp is pretty strong here. He can bounce a 2-cost or higher character back to hand, which we do realize here, and I think he calls me over in a second, that you can't bounce the 1-cost. So we take back all of these steps, right? Before we, mention that, yes, you can't bounce the 1-cost. But Hannibal is bounce a 2-cost or higher character to your hand and then ramp 1 active Don. So after, I think, the next turn, he realizes, you can't bounce the Buggy because it's a 2-cost. So he puts the Buggy back, puts the Don back in the car that he searched. And then just going over the Ivankov's stats. I will say I was very happy with the amount of variety we had for only 16 players at the tournament. I knew there was going to be a lot of overlap with leaders, and there definitely was. If you guys are looking at the list of leaders, probably can imagine which you would pick Nami Searcher coming up, taking up the Nico Robin. And looking to play out the Chopper Blocker from EBO1. Definitely a lot of great red Straw Hat crew type characters. So then he's swinging 6 at life and gives him a 2K. A lot of these matches I didn't get to watch very closely as I was recording these. I was checking both cameras, making sure everyone was just trying to have a good time. You know, I didn't, even though this is a box tournament, I didn't want it to be so serious. So yeah, here he's realizing, yeah, I can't bounce the buggy back. So we go over and just take back a bunch of the steps. So I think he puts back the card to the bottom of the deck that he searched from the second play out of buggy, right? And then puts a Don back to kind of rectify this. Because again, it's mainly just a lot of us from the same locals. So just putting back the card he searched. And then, yes, puts back the Don that he ramped. So kind of doing our best to rectify stuff. Again, I'm no judge. I was just trying to make a very fair and fun tournament for everyone to enjoy. So we're going 5 at life with the Ivanka, which if you don't know the Ivanka's effect, it is draw 1 if you have 6 or less in hand when attacking. So he's bouncing the Ivankov back. Ooh, nice. And then swinging 5 again. Plays out the Inazuma. The 6-7. Just believe if you have 2 or less in hand, then it's draw 2. Or if you have 0 in hand, I think it's draw 2. But also a 6-7 stat line body. I will say there is a few one-of decks that people brought that I was very excited to highlight and show off with the second camera. I think for the next tournament, if we do another off-meta night, hopefully we can up the amount of people that can attend. This was capped at 16. And with that, maybe we'll be able to see some more variety in decks. Like I said, with even only 16 people. And then, okay, so we'll be using the Otama to minus the Inazuma and then KOing it. But even with only 16 people, we had a decent showing of some variety. Of course, there's going to be some overlap. People trying to find the most meta, off-meta thing. Got handball player taking their first life. Obviously, I think Nine Mom, pretty good in this format. Overall, I was worried about like black decks and so much removal, which is pretty prevalent in the meta now. So that's why I made sure to get rid of the 8-drop Gecko Moria. You know, just make people think. But we got Nine Mom coming down, healing, discarding, and see if he chooses. He does not choose to put something to the top or bottom of life with Nine Mom. But without so much of the removal decks, we did see a lot more interaction with the board and things being able to stick, which I like. A few people said it felt more about like the old school One Piece. I mean, heck, we got a Red Luffy leader playing out the Rush Zoro. You know, personally, I thought that Red was going to be maybe a bit too strong in today's tournament, especially if people are choosing to play these, 4 life leaders. If you can just have a consistent rush down every turn, just like old Zoro being very aggressive. But some of these new cards in these older decks, as you can see with that Nine Mom hitting the board, they do have a huge impact, right? That Nine Mom is Super good in a format like this where that is just going to be a 9k body that sticks. So we got Zoro going, I think 7 at life, and he takes. As you can see, he's got, I think, another 9-mom in hand. So knowing that he'll be safe to heal again and swing into probably the Zoro or even a life. So he was going 7 at life with leader, giving 2 and a 1k counter and passing. But during this event, I had a lot of great suggestions for other different types of tournaments we could try, more off-meta stuff, more things along the lines of like drafting leaders, you know, different brackets we can try. So he's swinging 9 with the big mom, either a life of Zoro, and he blocks out. So we got the second mom coming down, trashing, and then healing. And seeing if he chooses to heal. He does not choose to place a character 6 or less to the top or bottom of his opponent's life. And I think just choosing to go 5k into Zoro here. So yeah, just 5,000. He does have a couple of rad beams and a rad beam and a guard point, as you can see from the Dawn being left up. And he does give the guard point, I guess, not a lot of counter in hand. But now with 2 9-moms coming down, and then I think that is the Impel Down's Searcher coming out. And he takes the Magellan. Or choosing the Koala. Yep. Okay. So I think that's the Koala blocker. I was going to say a little late in the game to play the Magellan, but if you don't have other characters really, but they're definitely the blocker for sure. But now having 2 9-mom heals come out, it is pretty rough. Not really able to just punch through that much health. We get the Rush Luffy coming down. But even so, swinging into that 9-mom, it would have been nice to keep the chopper blocker up if you wanted to get rid of that 9-mom that is swung last turn, as the chopper minuses 3k power, I believe, when attacking. So could have put the 9-mom down to 6k or 7k if it's 2k, but I think it is minus 3k. So it would have been a lot easier to swing into, but just going for life here. Because he still is at 3 life over here and can leave a few Dawn up for Rad Beam and other event counters, so it might not be in danger of dying, but counters out. Going Luffy 6 at life, it seems, keeping 1 up for the Rad Beam. He takes. So he's going 9k at the Luffy and giving up, and then going 9k at Zoro. Fortunately, isn't able to save them, sadly. Goes for a third 9-mom. So he's trashing a Magellan, it looks like. Healing back up to 3 life. 3 9-moms is definitely pretty scary in this matchup. Then swinging 6 to life. I gotta say, leading up to the tournament, I showed off the banned list, obviously, about a week or so before. Some people were saying that, you know, Ace, Red Ace, and the Red Green Luffy would be pretty strong. And I agreed, and I totally understood that there would be some leaders that were probably pretty strong for the format still. You know, as much as I'd love to see just Purple Shanks coming out. Sadly, there's no showing for Purple Shanks. But I understood that there'd be a few leaders that were probably still a bit beefier compared to some of the others. But I have to say, the Hannibal, and just, I mean, having 3 non-moms hit is pretty devastating in any matchup, right? But just the fact that you are healing with 9-mom, and it does offer a little bit of control and tempo by putting a 6 cost to top or bottom, right? So it kind of helps against more of the aggressive decks in the format. But in terms of some of the other tournaments that people were suggesting, I think a monocolor tournament would be pretty fun to see. I don't know if y'all have any suggestions. Of course, I would love to see it. I'll have to put a lot more thought into a ban list though going forward. I would love to see more variety and everything. But I think like maybe a mono red tournament where it's just a bunch of aggression, or maybe even green, right? Purple, like any of the colors, I think, depending on what leader restrictions go into the restrictions as well, could be pretty interesting. So just swinging for game here. I mean, with that many 9-moms, you got it, right? So going, I think, 12 at life here. Oh, and of a side note to mention, I am not playing in the tournament myself here. I did not want to compete for my own boxes, right? I wanted to just put this on for people to enjoy. Especially if we can scale this up a bit and do a bit bigger tournaments. I would love to do that. And then just go in 16 at life with one of the 9-moms, it looks like. And here, I think he only has 1 Don up for events. But honestly, I remember the counter out getting pretty intense here. We'll see. So he goes 1 Don for a Rad Beam to go up to 9,000. And then using the 0 cost Bad Manners Kick course to go up another 3 by discarding a card. So he's at 12,000 right now. 14 with a 2K. And if this was a 2K, oh man, I mean, it wouldn't have got right, but like from a 16, you would have just been able to match. But very close actually with the countering out. So that was our first match of the night, leaving Hannibal 1-0. So for this matchup, this was one of the, the Spice camera. All right. So I just asked for 2 people that just wanted to be on it for the first round as I went around and found some good one-of decks. These were all surprise decks, I must add to it. I didn't know anyone's decks that they were doing. I didn't know anyone's list that they were running beforehand. I went into this trying to just be as surprised as everyone else was with what people brought. Obviously, we got Ace over on the left, and then we got Magellan on the right. I mean, lore accurate, so I guess I kind of like that, right? But I was very happily surprised with a few decks people brought. I think this might have been the only Magellan deck to come into the tournament. I think people looking at the purple were honestly a lot of Hannibal for that ram factor, but just the Magellan being able to swing Magellan's lead ability. I think when a Don is returned from your Don field to your Don deck, you gain 1k power for the turn. So basically anytime Magellan puts back a Don of his, he gains an extra, swings 1,000 with 1 Don attached, right? Actually, I don't even know if it's similar to Katakuri, right? In the fact that he attached 1 Don for that, but it's just a way to buff the leader swing a little bit more. Definitely can help in the Ace matchup, as Ace's lead abilities, you can trash an event or stage from your hand, buff yourself 1k when attacking or defending. So a little bit easier to get over that, and then just swinging 5 with the Ezo Searcher. I think the most fun aspect of this was just seeing these old leaders come out. And also, Magellan's is not Don when attached. Similar to Katakuri, it is just your turn when a Don card is on your field is returned. His leader gains 1000 power, and it's once per turn. But with the Kid blocker coming out, that means he can Don minus, buff himself 1k for the turn, and then get back that Don is active from the blocker. So we got the ace player leaving up a Don, just swinging big. Obviously, we can see things coming out to KO the blocker. Or I think the 7-drop event, Flame Emperor, that gives double attack and KO something. But the 7-drop Kid coming out, really good combo from the Magellan deck. Love to see. So that way he Don minuses to buff the leader by 1000 from the 7-drop Kid. Gets another 1000 from his leader ability right now. So he is 7k leader right now. And then he gets another Don active from the 5-drop Kid. But choosing to leave that Don active, possibly for a counter event. Which could be really important because, like I said, we have a lot of KO potential with the ace coming out. But playing at the 7-cost ace, minusing the characters on board by 3000 on play, and then just swinging a leader, as he was still a 6k leader for that turn due to the 7-drop Kid's effect. Passing back to the Magellan. We have a 7-drop Kid coming out. All the kids are coming. So many 7-drops. So many Captain Kids. So he's going 9 at the 7-cost ace, buffing up the leader to 6k right now. Or no, 7. 8. Sorry, 8. Because he Don minused for the turn, right, by on playing the 2nd Kid that buffed the leader twice. One from 7-drop and one from lead ability. And then the on attacking from the other 7-drop Kid. So he was 8k for that turn. And now he is 7k base right now. So that is a 7k base Magellan leader with a Kid blocker and 1 Don up. So he's using the Flame Emperor, I believe the 7-cost event that gives plus 3000 to your leader and double attack, and then KOing, I think, an 8k power body or less to get rid of one of these 7 costs, while also kind of forcing him to either block out or give a lot of counter, which is, great play because his board was getting pretty scary. So that was a way that he could kind of get rid of either 2 bodies or a lot of cards in hand. So he's swinging with the 7-drop. Back up to 7k leader for the turn, 6k for the opponent's next turn. So sitting in 7 of life. Playing out the Onami blocker from the Purple Luffy starter. Discarding Magellan to draw 2. And playing out another Onami blocker. He's drawing so many. Now establishing 2 blockers. He is back down to a 6k leader with 1 Don up, 2 blockers. Pretty defensible right now. Pretty big wall he's put up. I'm not too familiar with Ace, which is just another great thing. I had to refamiliarize myself with some of these older leaders to be able to watch and commentate on these effects. But we got the 9-drop Whitebeard coming out on play, buffing up the Ace to 7k. And swinging a 9 at life with 1-drop. I'm not familiar with, but taking. So he's got 5 in hand for the ace player. Still a 7k lead. If he can survive this turn, that Whitebeard will help a lot because with I think 2 Dawn attached, the Whitebeard does KO a 3,000 power or less body, which would get rid of at least one of those Nami blockers while swinging 12. So he's swinging 9 at life, buffing the leader up 1,000. Obviously, I think you would probably just take here. And the Magellan buffing himself up with the leader ability and the 7-drop kid. So he is now 7k to match the ace. So he's swinging 8 at life. Pitching 2 events to go up 2k with the ace's leader ability. And then playing another blocker. So right now he is a 6k leader, 3 blockers. Pretty scary, pretty scary. But like I said, with this type of format, lacking a little bit of removal unless you are running, blue events like a Grab Blade or Red Rock. These big bodies actually get to stick pretty well and do a lot for... Ooh, okay, so we got the 7-drop Rush Ace and Otama coming out to minus that 7-drop Kid, swinging into it. No, we're swinging 7 of life, giving us 2k. And passing, Ace with 2 life. Not as scary of a board from the Magellan player right now, as he has a lot of blockers, but losing that 7-drop really does hurt a bit because now he can't continuously buff himself. He has to find something else to Don minus to get that leader ability active. And he did have the perfect combo with that 7-drop and the 5-drop on board. So we got 7 at life with Magellan leader. See if he's got a trigger. Adds to hand. I believe that's the Seaquake, which is trigger minus 3k power from one of your opponent's characters for the turn. Definitely good if you think they're going for game. But also it is a 1 Dawn KO, a 3k power body if your leader has Whitebeard Pirates, which definitely, is good to KO that Nami. He's got another 7 at life, looks like, countering out with some events from Ace's leader ability. Another 7 at life takes. Looking like... Oh, he counters out. So he had a 7 at life from the Nami with 5 Dawn and 2, but he had an event and an Otama, so just enough to get out of it, it looks like. Didn't think he would, so that's why, the Dawn's a little separate, but it's not, We see what happened. Passing back to the Ace. Honestly, he's got 3 swings. If he has a Flame Emperor or something else to get that double attack will be good. But I think about 6 cards in the Magellan's hand. And it looked like he had a bit of counter, so probably able to get out of one of these. But he has leader, the 7-cost Ace, and then Whitebeard. So pretty big swings, too, for not a lot of life. I think he's going 11 with the 7-cost. And then has an 11 swing from Whitebeard too. So he takes last life, swings 11, and counters 7, 9, 2k, and a 0k. So 3 2ks and a 0 cost. And then, yep, that would be GG. Magellan taking the spicy round 1. All right, so back to our undefeated table, the 1-0s. We got the Magellan versus, honestly, one of my favorite decks of the night. Seeing it, and you'll see it here soon. We got Magellan versus a blue-purple Croc. All right. Croc is one of my favorite villains in One Piece, honestly, so I'm a little bit biased. But also, just the fact that, it's a very relaxed tournament. All right, I know there might be some little rule stuff, maybe, oh, he attaches Dawn weird. I'm not trying to very rule shark people. I'm not really trying to be very particular with police and how people are playing. As long as people are playing correctly overall and having fun, I'm very happy with things turning out right. As you can see, we got the phone leader, a very big blue-purple Croc. I did offer a lot of people, I lent out cards so that people could have what they needed to play for today, right? But, you know, when you got to make do, you got to make do. So, yeah, as long as people aren't actually, like, breaking any rules, I was, you know, not going to be too strict on people. Because, again, a lot of these people are from my locals. People that just play casually at locals each week. You know, we have some people that go to regionals quite often. You know, I mean, honestly, this Blue Purple Croc, shout out, won a regional back a few months ago. But I wasn't really going into this night with the intention of being a very harsh judge. I just wanted people to have fun. So as long as there wasn't any, like, serious rule breaking or, you know, like cheating, you know, any cards coming out from under the table, you know, that was my main concern. So we got a pretty slow start, you know, a couple of passes, just a 5 at life for the Croc. Magellan takes 3 Don for the Sasaki that shuffles in your hand and then draws, I believe, the same amount of cards. So I guess not a great hand from the Croc player. But again, as one of my favorite villains of the series, I'm just biased. You know, obviously, I don't pick favorites with my friends from locals. Not trying to say that at all. But, and not to spoil anything, maybe I was a little partial to Blue Purple Croc this match. But I was just saying. So we got Magellan going up 4, ramping with the Bon Clay, and then swinging 6 at life with that active Don. However, the Bon Clay not having a super good target right now. Saki only having a 4k power stat line. But we'll see, as blue being, you know, one of the only real forms of control that we saw. You know, I did hope to see maybe like an Isho or some more Kyros coming out. But blue being like one of the main forms of control, things could get a little crazy. We got Miss All Sunday coming out, ramping, drawing a card for the Croc player. Now, though, the Bon Clay does have a target if he wants to swing 5 with it. Going up to, I believe, 7 Don now for the Magellan. After being at 4, ramping to 5, then going up to Don. So I think we're going to be maybe seeing the 7-drop kid come out. Yes. Which is going to be a little bit tricky because it is not in target range of a Grav Blade. You would have to red rocket if you're going to bottom deck it. So now Magellan, 6k leader. But with Blue Purple Croc ramping a little bit last turn from Miss All Sunday, we'll see maybe a decent response, hopefully. So we're going 6 at life with Blurple Croc. Countering 1, I believe. Apologies about the glare. I will try and make it a little bit more. Then going 6 at life. Again, taking this one. And then the X-Drake coming out to stack top of deck. And is also, I believe, a 5/6 blocker. But giving the Mr. 2 Bon Clay a 6k body to copy, a stat-wise. We'll see, though. Looking to what he wants to draw into. The top, I see a Grav Blade and a 0-cost event, it looks like. So nothing off those couple that would get rid of the 7-drop. As Gravity Blade bottom decks 2 6-cost characters. So the Magellan back at 8 Don. Using one for the Lufitar into Zoro. Interesting. So he can find the Nami blocker, which he does take. Interesting archetype choice to put into the Magellan. But honestly, with just how strong that Lufitar is, cheating out a body and being that 7/8 stat line, again, something that is out of range of a Grav Blade. It is going to be a very sticky target, kind of hard to get rid of. So now he is swinging 7 at life with the Bon Clay. Going 8 Don minusing to buff himself up leader to a 7. So he's countering out with the blocker. Trying to stay maybe at 1 life. I don't know if he's swinging a life though. 7. Maybe he was hoping he was swinging to the blocker. But honestly, that board is too scary. So swings into the Bon Clay with 4K. Seeing what we can do to maybe get rid of some more bodies on board. Swinging 6 at life, it looks like. Having 9 Don to work, but still. Would need to see some kind of a blocker coming out, really. But we still do have the X-Drake. Countering out. 9 Mom coming out. So he can heal and get rid of the Zoro to life if he wants to. Trashing the Missile Sunday for the 9 Mom effect and putting Zoro to the bottom of life. Decent way. So now he's established a big body of his own. Has a blocker, 1 life. Might be able to survive this turn. We'll see. As Magellan still has 2 very big bodies and can buff himself up with the 7-drop Kid Don minus effect. But with all that Don minusing and not a 5-drop Kid to kind of help you ramp back, he's still at 8 Don. Does get the Onami effect, trashing a card, drawing 2 as he is at 8 Don. Using 3 for an Usohachi to rest his X-Drake. Usohachi, a 2K counter from the ST that if you have 8 or more Don on play, he rests a 5 cost character or less. For 3 Don is really good. So he's swinging 8 at life to Don minus, buff himself up, 1K from the 7-drop, and then 1K from leader building. So he is a 7K leader for this turn, will be 6K for the next. He still has 1 Don left, so he can swing 8K 3 times. Or 7 and 9 while having a blocker up. So he chooses to swing 8 at life, it looks like here. Pressuring the hand. Counters out to 9. And then seeing that last 8K swing come into the X-Drake, it looks like. Wondering if he has the counter right to save, which he still does. And using the Purple Croc effect to draw a card. So, passing back. He is back down to 0 life, though, if he has another 9 Mom that could really help him, as he now has that body to pressure either his life or the Magellan's bodies, right? That 9K into 8 does require at least 2K, but he does still have the Onami blocker. We'll see if it is enough to control board. And then, of course, the Blue Purple Croc leader effect, if you're not familiar with, is Don times 1. When you activate an event, you may draw 1 card if you have 4 or less cards in your hand and haven't drawn a card using this leader effect during this turn. So it is a way to keep your hand size up if you are countering out. So playing out the Mihawk to bottom deck that 7-cost Kid, but not looking like it'll be maybe enough, as he still has the Luffy Taro and leader ability. But he still does have that extra blocker. Looks like Magellan player countering out with one of his Dawn. It's a wild play, but we'll see if it works out for him. Gets it back from trash. Judge allows it. Very handsome judge for this event, by the way. Some say he stands at 6'7" with a full beard and can bench 315 for reps. But looking like he can split properly with his leader and Luffy Taro, or playing the 9-mom out, realizing he is not in a point that he needs to go for game here, but healing and putting that, looking like maybe the X-Drake. Possibly debating doing, yes, the X-Drake. Could have also seen maybe the Miss All Sunday, being that it is a dead card, but you could trigger it out. Being so late in the game, it would get you that draw from her effect. She is, I think, Dawn -2 to play herself out from life, and then you can still get her on play effect that if you have 5 Dawn, you can ramp, get a Dawn back, and then if you have 6 Dawn after that ramp, you get to draw a card, right? So he's bottom decking the Onami and the Usohachi with the Grav Blade. He is back up to 1 life with that 9-mom effect coming out. So active event to get rid of one of those blockers. So now the Magellan still is pretty healthy, right? But if some of these smaller swings go through, swinging 5, 5, and then leader already has 1 Dawn attached to get that draw from the event, swinging 7. See if these 9s go through, but it just wasn't enough. So passing back to the Magellan player, our Blurple Croc player at 1 life. No blockers though. And having leader, a 9k and an 8k body. Just got to kind of math out your opponent here. Going 9 life. With 0 cost to go up to 8. Drawing a card by activating that event. And looking for 2 more Kane counter. We see he has the Sanji. And I think 2 1Ks, or no, 8, no, a 2K coming out. So 2 in hand, but possibly bluffing out how much counter he does have, and maybe trying to redirect some of these swings. But taking that 9K and then going for game. GG. Great game from these two. Love seeing it. Honestly, though, those 7 cost bodies, a little bit harder to remove from blue. Again, needing like a red rock or something like that to get it off for the board. So these 7 cost bodies, they're sticky. They're sticky and they get a lot of value by staying on the board that long. All right, back to our spice table. We got pretty interesting matchup here. As you can see, we have the starter deck Luffy. Shout out to this person here on the left. I believe this was one of the first One Piece tournaments he's been to. Kind of just showed up, and we actually had 15 people, but 16 slots. So he was willing to just pick up. Somebody had an extra deck, this Luffy deck, so lent it out to him. He was able to play in the tournament. So shout out for him to be in our 16th last minute showing. So we got a red purple Eustace Captain Kid on the right, and then the Luffy starter deck on the left. I honestly pulled these guys over because I want to see that kid. I was not expecting anyone to bring the Captain Kid, but that is a deck that I've been trying to cook with and thinking about Theorycraft, and he gets some support. And honestly, just anything purple right now with Black Maria being something that people were obviously speculating on with Red Purple Law. And then after he got banned, I was always thinking about what deck could utilize this Black Maria, and honestly something like Captain Kid that consistently Don minuses to buff himself, right? The Eustace Captain Kid Leader ability being Don -1 when attacking. You can give your leader plus 2k, so you Don minus to get 2,000 power. And that also is, I think you see that 4 or more life, he has -1k power for his turn. But once you're at 3 or less life, you're essentially getting 2k for 1 Don. Not bad. And then if you have something like Black Maria or anything really to get you that Don back consistently, could make it for some aggressive swings, right? So again, also going back to the, not trying to be so strict. A lot of these people, everyone's playing decks they're not familiar with. We got some people here that are new to the game, even. I wanted these tournaments to just be a fun and inviting place for everyone, experienced or not, to come and play. So again, shout out to everyone that made multiple decks to one, either try out different ones, but also they had them on hand for people that, showed up and wanted to play with it. So we got the 3-cost pudding, it looks like, coming out that gets you a Don back rested whenever you Don minus. So similar to the 5-drop uses Captain Kidd blocker that whenever you Don minus, you get 1 back active. However, this just gets you 1 back as rested, but allowing the RP Kidd to use leader ability without really going down in Don. So we got the 2-cost Sanji coming out. And then the Brook to attach that Don to the Sanji to get him rush, I believe. So some aggressive plays coming up. Swinging 5 at life. And honestly, I can see as the RP Kidd might want to take a few of these, but going against red, you never know how aggressive they can be. Taking that first life though, and then going 6, I believe. And as you can see from that counter, I think that's the Gina, I believe, from the Foxy Pirates. So seeing a little bit of spice from the list, which we like, Get a bit of the Foxy Pirate engine cooking with RP Kidd. I mean, that's, So speaking of, we see the 3-drop Porsche coming out. Don minusing to do the effect and getting that Don back as rested from the 3-drop pudding, right? Looking at top 5 for Foxy Pirates and then playing out something with, I think, 4,000 power or less from your hand. So he takes that 2k Gina, I think. I believe she's a 2k counter. And then playing out the Shopper Blocker, and that is also a blocker that if you have less Don than your opponent, I believe you can add 1 Don as arrested on play. But since he's had that pudding out, hasn't really gone too far down. So swinging at the Sanji. And letting it go. So going back to the Luffy player's turn. But you got the Kidd at still 4 life. 1 blocker. Luffy player resting 2 Don for the 2k counter Sanji. That activate main takes the top card of your life to the hand and then gives himself 2k power and then also attaches 2 rested Don. So could swing 7k the following turn, as he does not have rush. Attaching 2 Don to Brook. Thinking about how high he wants to swing. I believe he has leader ability still. Yeah, so attaching to Sanji, but again, some people are a bit newer, but that Sanji does not have rush as he was just played. So swinging 5 with Luffy. I'm not sure if they catch that or not, but He takes the 5 from Luffy, swinging another, I think, 5 from Brook. And I think they are catching it here that Sanji was played. So passing back to the RP Kid. Again, I wasn't able to watch all the matches as they were happening. Unfortunately, probably should have other people around if things do need to get caught or anything. But again, everyone's pretty chill from locals, so nothing too crazy. So seeing Porsche into the Brook. And now with 3 life, I believe the Kid is back to 5k on his turn. So using a guard point to save the Brook, requiring just another swing to go into the Brook if he wants a clear board. Could swing the Pudding, as she is still 4k stat line, right? But would be rough to have to rest the Pudding if you want to keep that on board. So yeah, swinging. I think it has 7 into the Brook. Just guaranteeing that you're getting rid of it. And then swinging a life. 6, Don minusing to buff, and then getting that back immediately rested from the Pudding. So swinging 6, so 8 at life, I believe. So then the Luffy player takes, looks like he picks up the Kid Killer, and then playing out another Chopper blocker. And again, the Kid Killer does not get buffed yet as he is still at 3 life, but very close. And even with these old leaders, you know, it is just interesting to see how they use the new support and everything. And yeah, going against a red deck, you have to be careful about going too low in life, as you could see a Diablo Jambe coming out, or those Kid Killers coming out to pressure 7k when attacking. We got the Nami Searcher coming out. Taking the Rush Luffy that Dawn ×2 cannot be blocked. Definitely a good pickup when, you know, you see 2 blockers on the other side of the board. And now can use the Sanji's ability to buff himself. However, it would be a little risky as you're getting lower on life. Playing out the Kid Killer. Attaching Don to Sanji. Swinging 5 at life, it seems. Definitely got to block those out or give counter 5 at life. In that 1k. And then there'll be another 5 at life from the Kid Killer. Taking. Leaving 1 blocker up. But now, if you don't get rid of that Kid Killer, he will be 7k when attacking the following turn, as you are now at 2 or less life for his effect. But we will most likely see some swings into the Kid Killer's turn, and looks like there is still a Don active for the Red Luffy player. So another Porsche coming out, Don minusing, and then getting that Don back from the Pudding. Doing the effect, searching. Maybe looking for another Chopper blocker coming out. So he whiffs on the search. See what he plays out from the effect, if anything. It doesn't look like he has another target for the Porsche to play out. So yeah, probably was looking for that other Tony Chopper blocker. Looking like a 8k swing at the Kid Killer. Looking for 2 2Ks. And he can swing 9 following that, as he had 2 Don to attach the leader. and then could use leader ability to buff himself. But swinging 5 into the Sanji here. Going to use the guard point to save it. Swinging 6, or choosing to, yes, so choosing to use leader ability. So that's 6, buffing up to 8. So 8 into the Sanji, most likely going to see that go, as that is 8 into 3. Yeah, so Sanji is gone, but 2 life. And we know he has the unblockable Luffy. And 10 Don. However, RP Kid having that chopper blocker up. No active Don. Playing out the Rayleigh though. Looking what he's going to minus. So he chooses to minus on the Porsche and kills the Tony Chopper. So possibly minus 3k on the Porsche. So attaching 2 to Nami, and then another rested with leader ability, swinging 5. We're going to 5 of life actually, so countering at 1. Pressuring that life, but that minus on the Porsche will stick for the next turn, obviously from Rayleigh's effect. So that is one less swing that you kind of have to worry about. But now we have that Rayleigh on board, that AK body. And again, we know he has the Luffy in hand. So could be a possibility of 3 swings or just stacking next turn for 2. Swinging I believe 2 into the Nami, if that is the minus 3k Porsche. Swinging 5 at life. Takes. Let's see if he can establish a few blockers that could definitely help the RP Kid. Playing the Linlin, also good choice. Don minusing. Getting that Don back from the 3-drop pudding. Trashing an ace, the 10, or not ace, the Shanks. Trashing the 10 cost Shanks, the film KO at 10k power or less, obviously as a dead card in hand right now. But healing, really good, as you know your opponent has in hand that rush Luffy. So now forcing them to commit to playing a rush character if they want to end the game this turn. If they don't, then now you have that 9k body along with your Porsche and leader to swing back at them. But no blockers left for the Kid. Putting 2 Don aside. Playing out the Dragon. So big swings coming in here. Attaching 2 rested Don to leader. So that is, right now we have a 7k, 8, and 9 looking like. Still have leader ability though to attach another rested Don. So 7, 9, and 9 looking like, with 2 Don left as active. So stacking our Don. We're going to swing 7 at life, it looks like here. I believe that was 2 Don on the Rayleigh, so that would be a 10 at life. And then we're looking at, I think there was another 2 Don on Dragon, so an 11. We'll see if he has the counter. And he does not. GG. Very aggressive, classic red gameplay. Love to see it. Unfortunately, I do like the Foxy engine. It is really nice, getting that Don minus to search out the chopper blockers. But we got our round 3 undefeated Hannibal mirror match. I will say, I know you might think that, oh yes, there were a few Hannibal. I think there might have been 4 or 5 Hannibal. I think around like 3 to 4 red ace. However, I will say the Hannibal deck list, and you might see this in this match particularly, they were very different. There was a lot of variety with the Hannibal matches. I gotta say I was very happy with the deck building that these guys brought out for the week. Of course, I think they had about a week and a half, maybe even a little less, depending. I tried to give as much people as much time as they could. But we got the Hannibal on the left, going first, playing out that buggy, looking for an Impel Down card. A lot of these Jailer Beasts are, you know, pretty good for the mirror match as they do ramp on KO, but we taken the Ivankov 7 cost that cheats out another body. So playing out our 2 cost, bouncing it back to hand to ramp. We got another pass from that afterwards, and then we got 5k life and turn ramp back 1 after playing out the koala, or Mina koala, right? The Jailer Beast, a blocker, and the on KO, if your leader has the Impel Down type, I believe the ramp a Don. So another way to ramp to get out these big bodies, as you saw from previous matchups. The purple 9 mom really good in this match. So we got the classic Impel Down 2 cost into the I think it was the Sadie to ramp. So just a lot of light swings because they're just using a lot of their Don to play out these characters. Putting back to hand to ramp, so gonna see a lot of just light swings until late game. Using the Desert Spada to counter out, and look at the top 3. Rearrange. Putting it top again afterwards. Interesting tech choices coming in from Hannibal. Swing with the Jailer Beast. Because we got 2 4-life leaders. We all know that 9 mom being so strong in this type of format, you might want to try and rush your opponent down before they just start chain healing. But the 5-drop Magellan coming out to kind of keep off of those curves. So we'll see. And of course that Magellan, the 5/6 body on play, Don -1, and your opponent also has to return one of their Don. So a way to keep your opponent off of their big bodies, off of their curve. We'll see though, as I believe this mirror matchup might heavily rely just on the top end, as we see an 8k life, it looks like. Counter out 2 2ks. Playing out the Onami blocker. Has a Don or more, you trash a card and then draw 2. So a reverse queen. But just a blocker right now, it looks like. As we see pass back. 5 at life. 1k counter. Another Magellan coming out though to Don minus both players. And playing out the 3-drop that cheats out to Jailer Beast. Koala blocker again, so 2 Magellans definitely does hurt, but when you can ramp yourself by returning one of your 2 cost or higher characters back, Magellans might not hurt as much. But we'll see as we see a possible 5k at life. Again, big bodies just being so important in this deck. It seems that we'll see a lot of 5k swings. Appreciate showing the camera. We see the Aramaki blocker coming out. If you're unfamiliar with this blocker, as probably most people are, he is an 8k 8 cost blocker. And we see reading the card, as a lot of people probably aren't familiar, but he is an 8k blocker. Activate main once per turn. You may trash 1 card from your hand, place 1 character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck, and then this character gains plus 3,000 during the turn. So very conditional plus 3,000, but is also just an 8k blocker. An AK blocker, very good stat line for a tournament like this. We see 6 at life. 2K counter coming out. 9 mom dropping. Looking scary as now we'll be able to heal. Keep that 9K body on board. We'll see if he chooses to heal or not. Getting rid of that Nami blocker or not. Choosing not to. And just swinging 6 of life. Blocking out. And then taking that last 6K. And passing back to our Hannibal on the right. Not looking great, as you know, now we have 2 Magellans. You know, as you get to the late game, that -2 Dawn on KO for the Magellan isn't as scary, but we see 1 Dawn on the 10 Dawn turn coming out for the buggy. Look at top 3 to arrange it any order to put back at the top of the deck. But yeah, those 2 Magellans on the board with the 9 mom and the Mina Koala looking pretty scary. We see a 5 at life coming out. Looking for the Sanji into the 9 mom off of a 3-card stack is crazy. Swinging 7 at life. Blocking out. Or taking. Chooses to take. Countering out the 5. So going 6 at life, and he still has that Armaki blocker and the Nami. Gives 2K counter. See how strong that Sanji play really is, as it is developing 2 9-cost bodies. Checking the trash here. And again, which is how hard it is to get removal. Those 9K bodies are deadly. Passing back to the Hannibal on the right. So he's doing the buggy at the buggy. 2K at 2K. Just letting that go. 1 Dawn for Perona. Looking at top 5. Possibly another Sanji play coming out. Looking at top 5, seeing what targets you might want to hit with a Sanji. Swinging 9 at Magellan. Blocking out. Nine. Going again at Magellan. Now, Magellan's on KO effect is Dawn -2. If you KO the Magellan, you have to put back 2 of your Dawn, but being at 10 Dawn doesn't really affect as much. However, I believe he has a 9 Dawn standing, so that actually would mess up some plays. So we're going 5 at life. If you were expecting to play out a 9-cost character, it could definitely throw you through a loop. So we're trashing for 9, playing another Sanji, replacing it with another 9 Mom, Dawn minus, healing, placing the Magellan at the bottom of life. So now we're seeing very different boards here. And just how powerful some of that removal from the 9-mom is. Going 8 of life and taking. Still 2 blockers, and not a really good way to remove both at the same time, being that Aramaki is that 8 cost 8k. So playing 2 blockers of his own. Seeing that 9k Big Mom swing. Or taking back. Or no. And then, oh, playing out. Okay. And then ramping. Okay, so cheating out the koala with that, right? Okay, passing back. Establishing that blocker. Those blockers. The impel down combos. But now we see 2 9-cost Sanjis, Aramaki and Big Mom. But Hannibal on the left having 6 life, or 4 life, going 6 at life. Giving a 2k. 9 at life with Sanji. Blocking out. So seeing another 9k at life. And then another 9k life from the Big Mom. Putting back down just to 2 life, but both Magellans. Replacing the 9-mom with the Mihawk to bottom deck the Koala, leaving him with just 2 swings from Big Mom and Leader unless he plays some kind of rush. But with 2 blockers on your board, that is not really likely to get through. Hitting the Inazuma off the Ivankov, of course, not that 2-cost requirement to play. So choosing to put it top or bottom. Playing on another Ivankov, possibly looking to find the 9-mom at the top of the deck. To find a blocker, right? Just seeing 5 at life, countering out, and then 9 at life. And blocking, giving 2. So passing back to the Hannibal on the right with probably one of the most insane boards I think I saw all night with, 2 Sanjis, a Mihawk, a lot of 8 and 9k bodies, 2 life, 1 blocker, it looks like. Bottom decking the blocker, swinging the 9s, going for game and getting it. GG from, a Hannibal bringing it out on the Hannibal mirror match, right? All right, so for our next spicy matchup, we got the Red Purple Kid coming back to the table because his opponent is the starter deck Yellow Yamato. The effect of the Yamato is if you're at 2 or less life and have a Dawn attached, then you gain 1k power for your opponent's turn, right? So you're a 6k leader. Definitely helps. And also you're just a mono yellow deck, so a lot of shenanigans. I was talking to this player. I believe he might be playing a pretty standard Wano package. Not standard, but primarily Wano package, which I thought was really cool. I play a lot of green yellow Yamato and play a lot of just the Wano characters in that deck. So I was really excited to see this play out. And honestly, I still was a big fan of the Foxy Pirates engine in the Red Purple Kid. So I wanted to see how it did. And overall, as an off-meta tournament, we got to see some spice. So we see the Red Purple Kid swinging 6k at life using that Charlotte Pudding to get back that Dawn rested. So not going too behind on Dawn. And I assume as the yellow Yamato deck, you don't really mind taking too much life, as there are a lot of things in yellow to heal and then also to give you that Dawn, right? But I think, again, this person was a bit newer to the game, so I don't know if they even had a lot of the SR 9-drop Yamatos to play with, and I didn't know that before because I obviously would have given them all the cards they needed. I think I have a bunch of copies of that 9-drop at this point. I think it was reprinted, right, in the PRBO1 set. So I wish I could have provided more cards to people. I think for next time, I'll just bring my entire bulk to give out for people deck building. But we see the 5-drop Kid Blocker coming back. So another way to get Dawn back, actually ramping you when swinging with lead ability, as you Dawn -1, but get 1 back rested from the pudding and then 1 back active from the blocker. So coming out with 1 extra Dawn. See the Yamato player just having, I think, the Yamato 3-drop, I believe, from the starter deck. Playing out the 2K Hiyori to buff one of your Land of Wano characters for the turn, right? But also, if you are familiar with the Land of Wano yellow archetype, there is the 5-drop Momonosuke blocker that can heal a Land of Wano character other than Kozuki Momonosuke to your life. So just the more characters you have on the board, just more targets to heal. So we are giving Leader Banish with Onami, and then swinging first with the character Yamato. Using Yamato's effect, taking top life, and then we are seeing counter coming out, and then swinging 6 Banish, seeing a block from the 6K Kid blocker, and then giving the additional counter to get out of it. Passing back to the Red Purple Kid player's turn. So it looks like they are at 8 Dawn. Again, that combo of the pudding and the 5-cost Kid blocker, helping them stay pretty Dawn efficient, and playing out the Queen Dawn minusing, but getting that draw 2, trash 1, and then getting 2 Dawn back from that, even putting them back up to 9 Dawn. You know, getting 1 active, 1 rested. So even if you Dawn minus for leader ability, you'll be at 8 Dawn and then going back up to 10 the next turn. So we'll see what they use remaining Dawn for. Attaching 1 to pudding, swinging at the Yamato, which, trying to control the board, you know, get rid of that, as they don't have too much else on the board really to swing with that Hiyori and just an Onami. But countering out of that, swinging 6, using the lead ability's effect to Dawn minus the buff by 2. He's still, and then playing out the Heat 3-cost. So very defensive. A lot of blockers coming out, but Yamato getting close to their lead ability, getting to 2 life. We'll see coming out. A 3-5. Attaching Dawn to leader. But I believe being at 3 life, so he's still not in range for lead ability. to get that +1. However, with that Dawn attached, you will still gain that +1. We see Dawn attached to Nami. Swinging at the pudding. So blocking the 5k swing with Kid. Swinging 7 at the arrested Kid, giving a 2k counter. We're passing back to the red purple Kid. So going up to 10 Dawn now. Seeing the Shanks come out. KO anything with 10,000 power or less. Get rid of that 3-5 vanilla. So again, just taking out any threats on the board. See if they swing at life using leader ability. They do use leader ability, swinging 6. And then so that's 6 at life. Getting that Dawn back as active through the 5-cost Kid. Using the trigger to draw a card. Killing the Onami. And using that last Dawn, just passing. Honestly, at this point, yeah, you have your 12k body, you got 2 6k blockers, and you're still at 10 Dawn. So you just use your leader ability to buff your swings. So Yamato is at 2 life, so can use leader ability to gain that extra +1000, but honestly, with the Shanks on the board, that is looking pretty scary. Does have the Raigo in hand, the Kingdom Come, so could KO the Shanks, but that would put you down at 1 life, trashing your top life, which would be pretty rough right now. But honestly, to get rid of that 12k body, it's definitely tempting, but honestly, at 1 life, no blocker, you still could be a 6k leader. Would be in a great place to be in. See, tempting. Does look like he's playing out the Kingdom Come. Get rid of that Shanks, looks like it, and then we'll trash the top life. Coming down to 1 life with 4 Dawn left. Attaching the Dawn leader to get that extra +1000. 2 Dawn. Yamato swinging into the heat, which is normally a 3-4 body, but if you're unfamiliar, he is your turn once per turn. When a Dawn is returned from your field, his character gains +2000 to the start of your next turn. So he is a 6k body. So pass it back to Kid with 10 Dawn. Yamato at 1 life. So not looking great. But again, that 12k body, getting rid of it does feel important. Playing out the Chopper blocker. So another blocker. Definitely feeling pretty safe right here. Going 9 at life. And then buffing the heat by returning Dawn. So the Yamato is 6k leader. However, with this many buys and so much Dawn, so he's going another 9 at life with the heat. And looks like it is GG. All right, before we get into the last undefeated match of the night, this is our last Spice match. Okay, so this is not the undefeated table. I just want to show off this Kyros leader. I believe he was the only Kyros of the night. I really wanted to see what he was cooking with. I felt bad that he ended up being, I think, the only black deck in the whole tournament, I think. Because of the 8-drop Gecko Moria ban, you know, I didn't want to just see a lot of the old leaders, but using 8-drop, right? So that was why that was the only character that I banned on top of the Bandai list. But we see Kyros going against Ace here. If you're unfamiliar with Kyros' leader ability, he is the black-yellow 4-life leader from EBO1. I believe he is a KO at a 0 cost of character by flipping the top of life face up. So a conditional KO, a 0 cost. Playing out the Rebecca and then swing 5. In a 1k counter from an event from Ace. Stacking on lead, swinging, getting the Rebecca blocker, passing back to Kyros. Let's see, I think I asked him what he ended up replacing the 8-drop Gecko Moria with. Getting the Sabo blocker, definitely going to help prevent the Flame Emperor coming down to KO and then getting that double attack. But I asked him what he replaced it with. And I think it was a couple Sabos, maybe some Ishos. Obviously that, you know, the other typical choices for that 8 slot spot for black decks, right? Gonna be Isho, maybe Sabo, but nothing as strong as that Gecko, right? See him trashing another Sabo though. And then going 6 of life, getting a 2k from Jozu, and passing. Ace coming out, minusing 3k on both of the characters and getting rushed. So swinging 5 of life. Countering out and then going 7, blocking out with the Sabo, passing back to the Kyros. Interested to see if we see something like an Ice Age and maybe some more reduction coming out to KO the Rush Ace with leader ability, but it is a pretty high target for that, so maybe some other removal coming out, maybe some more blockers. Realistically, the Kyros ability is pretty good for KOing small bodies, right? Something that you just need like a -4 from Ahina or something pretty low Don costly, you know, maybe even something 5 cost with an Ice Age and then using leader ability, or maybe the 4-drop Kuzan, right? That can minus when attacking. But getting the Rebecca out, I think minusing 4 on the Ace, putting him at a 3 cost. And then Hina coming out to reduce the Ace with 1 down up, using leader ability, flipping that top life over, revealing the Suru, and KOing the Ace, leaving 1 down up, going 6 at life. So, getting a 2k counter, but getting rid of that 7k body. Again, as you can see from Kyros' leader ability, it just is a little bit costly to get rid of those big cost characters until you get to 10 Don. If you can get something out, like maybe a 10-drop Kuzan, to give everything -5 to their cost. See that Rush Luffy coming out. Swinging 7 of life. Trying to pressure that life down as fast. And in the block. going 7, taking the Suru. But we'll see if he has the removal for the Luffy this turn. The ace having about 5 cards in hand, but 10 Don for the Kyros. Could honestly see something big coming out this turn, depending on what he's got in hand. So KOing the Luffy as the ace is still at 5 life with the Gadatsu. That is the late game Gadatsu play coming in clutch. Definitely a decent way to get rid of him. You know, establishing that 6k body. Swinging 6 at life. Taking. So he still has the Hina swing and Brando if he wants to attach any Don, but we'll see what else he plays out with his Don. Rebecca coming out for the remaining Don. Using Rebecca effect, most likely bring back a 2k counter. We'll see if he plays out anything with it. Looking back at hand. Looking like he's going to take the T-Bone. Or no, the Sabo blocker. It looks like he's picking up. Choosing not to play out anything from Rebecca. Swinging that 5 with Hina. Passing back to the ace. Gotta get through that Rebecca blocker though. Let's see if the ace can get through the blocker while also putting down to 0 life. So he does use Flame Emperor, popping the Rebecca, stacking that +3 from the event, and then Restodon to hit that double attack, connecting with Heroes, putting him down to 0 life. We'll see if he can establish blockers to keep himself alive. But if we see another unblockable Luffy come out, that could be it. Ace is still pretty healthy, so not looking like he's going for game. Spread out his Don. See if he can establish 1 or 2 blockers this turn. And see the ace player on the right, I think, does have another rush ace, so that could be 2 swings coming out next turn at least. Takes the first life. Going 6 of life, giving up 2k. Going 6 again, countering out with another 2k. Playing the Viola blocker, and then the Sabo blocker to double up the blocker, KO immune your entire board, and cycling out with the Sabo. Probably see him trash some non-counter as, you know, again, we could see unblockable Luffy coming out, possibly trashing the Brook and Ice Age. Or no? Nine cost Kaido. Okay. And passing back. So keeping the Brook, it seems. Establishing 2 blockers. We'll see if he can get through him this turn. If not, he could be in a little bit of trouble. As long as he can keep the Sabo blocker up, that would be another 6k swing if he wanted to go for a game. But playing out the ace, the rush ace, again getting 2 swings. Minusing the Sabo, going 7k at life. Possibly trying to get through those blockers. So countering out of the first swing, and then going 7 at life, blocking out the Viola. Leaving up the Sabo, back up to 6k for this turn. Back over to Kyros. Could see a push for game this turn. because I don't know if he'll be able to remove that ace while establishing another blocker, as he doesn't have life, so he can't use leader ability anymore. So would have to use just more traditional removal. But the ace having one Don up, so pretty scary to go for game, knowing that's probably a rad beam to plus 4,000. But definitely could be possible just to remove one body, and then even if you don't play out another blocker, you just force your opponent to have some kind of answer to the blocker that you do have. You know, ace does have a decent bit of removal, but you know, at this late in the game, maybe just don't have it anymore. Using an Ice Age though, and then the Brook coming out to get rid of that ace, leaving you 3 Don left. So again, unless it's another Viola blocker, probably not going to see another blocker come out. So yeah, hit that ace with the Ice Age, and then using the Brook to place into the trash. Now we'll see swings starting to come out here. Again, just rely on the fact that maybe the ace doesn't have a way to remove the blocker while also not having more rush. So swing 7 at life. The trigger coming out to pop the Sabo is looking like it's going to have it. Kills a 6k power or less body. That is rough. That is rough. I do wonder if he had another answer for the blocker or just maybe another rush card. Not sure how much the Kyros has in counter. Does have a pretty big hand, but see the rush ace coming out. And 7 at life. See if he trashes any to buff with leader ability. Goes up to 8. So swinging 8 Ikadatsu, which is 3k power right now from the rush ace. Oh, so just 7 it looks like. So 7 at 3,000. Lets the Gadatsu go. Passes with 1 Don up. Could have just saw 15 at life, honestly, there, but listen, with the 1 Don up, still 1 life. He does have 3 swings though. So going 9 at life with the Brook. So takes. Like 7 Don left, 2 swings. Gonna look like a 12k from one of the characters. Swinging out with brand new. Looks like it connects though. I believe that was, I think, a 10 from brand new, and then 5 and 5. Just not enough cards in hand to get through it. All right, for our last undefeated matchup of the night, we got Hannibal versus his boss Magellan. An interesting matchup for our undefeated players. We have Magellan coming out searching right now for Straw Hat Pirates, finding the Usohachi 2K counter. Again, running that purple Straw Hat engine that is very strong from the starter deck. Hannibal playing out a 2-cost to ramp, getting up to 3 Don, going up to 5 next turn. So swinging big at leader from the Magellan. So Hannibal going up to 5 Don here. in 5, Magellan takes. Scene 2, come out. 3 to play out the Sadie, to play out the Koala. So put back the hand to ramp. So Magellan ramping himself by playing out the Bon Clay. Trying to match the Hannibal, but honestly, the consistent every turn ramp is a little bit hard to match. So we'll start probably seeing some big bodies coming out here from Hannibal. So seeing a 5K swing, getting some counter. And playing all 9 for 9 mom. Putting that to bottom, healing. And then trashing and putting the dumb back. So choosing the, we'll see, Aramaki blocker. So losing the blocker. We see the 7-drop kid coming out. Again, a great combo we saw earlier to buff leader to 7K for this turn, swinging 8. And then he will still be 6K leader for his opponent's turn. But now that we see the 9 mom out, that is still a big swing into life if you choose to do so. So goes 9 at life, takes. And then Mihawk coming out to bottom deck the 7-drop kid. Really great response in that 7K stat line. Establishing a big body of your own. Honestly, probably the best way to get rid of that 7 cost right now. But John getting up there, and Don, we'll see if he responds with anything of his own. Nothing you can really do to get rid of that Mihawk, but we'll see if he goes for the big mom. Swing 5 at life from leader, seen countering out, staying at 3 life. Playing his own 9 mom. Honestly, the MVP of the night seems to be the 9 mom. Probably one of the strongest top end cards for purple in this kind of a format. And then, so here, it was just a little bit of a misplay. Again, with the 9 mom, he took it to hand instead of putting it to the life. So, because he saw the card, we put it to the bottom of the deck and then healed a different one. Not the end of the world. Really. Again, everyone here is friends, right? We're all pretty much just locals, buddies. Things happen. So, playing out the Perona to stack the deck again. Seeing if a Sanji is going to be coming out most likely. But not liking what he sees, putting it to the bottom, it seems. So swinging at life with Mihawk and Big Mom, playing out that Sanji, and just hits the 2 costs, I believe the blocker, right? Nothing major, but still just establishing another big body. So yeah, as we see the Sanji, I mean, didn't really hit something major this turn, but kind of outpaces what Magellan can do as just mono purple, right? The Big Mom can come out, but not establishing 2 bodies, whereas the blue purple Hannibal can. Luckily for him, though, it wasn't a major threat hitting the board this turn. However, still with 3 9K bodies, it is going to be hard to deal with that. So the Usuhachi coming out to rest the blocker. Could see maybe possibly stacking to go for one of the bodies just to swing out through combat so that he can't just block out, and then yet going, I think, 11 at one of them. So looking for 2 cards. Just try and limit some of the pressure. Counters out, though. So we'll see what else he can do this turn to kind of deal with these big bodies, but honestly, kind of getting overwhelmed at the point. Going at the Mihawk again, getting rid of it though. Still has a 9-bomb and the Sanji though. We'll see Magellan at 3 life. We know the bottom life is that Bon Clay. So going, ooh, just big at the big bomb to respond. To see if you can kind of control the board. Looks like at least, is it 4 cards? So a 13 or so at Big Mom. Looking for a lot of cards. Yep, just gonna let it go. Unfortunately loses his big body. Now swinging at life with the Perona, looking for just more cards out of hand. Going 6 at life now. And then a 9 at life. So just pressuring him down. Last on, putting out a blocker again. Not looking great because now with the blocker, you can't really guarantee to kill any of his big bodies. Although, again, even if he did just try to swing into the bodies, wouldn't really have anything to establish on his own board. Not looking like a great spot to be in. So swinging Usuhachi into the Perona, of course, just trying to get rid of anything that could be a swing. You can limit the amount. Not a lot of rush being played, I think, in some of these decks, especially, you know, blue-purple. So if he could get rid of one of the big bodies this turn. We'll see coming out the 7-cost kid to buff himself again to 7k for this turn, and then 6k for the following opponent's turn. So it could be a little bit easier to defend your life being that 6k leader and just going big. Yep. And blocking out. So Hannibal going back. Again, Sanji, Big Mom, and Leader Swing still against 2 life, but he is a 6k leader. So swinging with Big Mom. Takes the first life. Swings 11 with Sanji. Takes. And we'll see rest of Dawn. So that is, I guess, 11. Does have the counter, so passes back, but Animal being 4 life. Still not in any danger, really, of dying this turn. And now it's just pressured. Magellan down to 0 life. Plays out the Nami. Trashing the Magellan to draw 2, establishing a blocker. We'll see if he can establish another blocker. Even so, it might not be enough. Low hand size on the Hannibal, though. we see another Nami coming out. Getting the 2 blockers does help, definitely. However, just having 3 swings technically with the 2 9k bodies and leader is going to be a lot of pressure next turn. Even if you are that 6k leader, looking to go 9 into Sanji, returning Don to buff leader up to 7k. So we got 8 of life coming in from the last swing. So you couldn't swing twice at the board, unfortunately. Just 9k. Very high stat line. So if you're going to spend Don to play 2 blockers, you don't have a lot of Don remaining to split on your characters, right? So, and then the grab blade coming out to bottom deck the blockers. And that looks like GG as we're swinging 9 into 6. Still requiring 2 cards, right? 0 costing and then 1k. And then just stacking on the Sanji for the win. Hannibal winning the off-meta tournament of the night. Shout out to everyone at the locals. Again, we are just giving out some packs and the box to the winner. I also had some side things going where people voted for the spiciest deck of the night. It ended up being a Rosinante, taking it, getting a few alt arts from PRBO1 that I gave out. And then also I chose my own favorite deck of the night and gave out a Hollow Law Don from PRBO1. Not the gold foil, just the hollow, right? But still something. And that I chose to give to the blue-purple crocodile player, being the only blue-purple croc, and also, you know, biased. I love that character, right? So those were all the big winners of the night, and I'll show off some of the hits in a second here. But just again, shout out to everyone at my locals for playing this with me. Shout out to the store owner and just Akihabara Bazaar for hosting this event, right? And helping me getting all organized. I know things were scuffed. People made some mistakes. Everything wasn't perfect, right? This wasn't a sanctioned event. This was just, I bought boxes for my locals, wanted to host an off-meta night, right? Everything wasn't perfect, as I knew this first one wouldn't be. If anything went wrong, you know, I hope to make it better for the next time. So we got our winners, our top 4. So I believe ended up getting, you know, a box to the winner, some packs to the rest of everybody, some good pulls overall. At the end of the day, I hope everyone just had fun. I try to use my platform, this YouTube channel, to provide a fun and free event to my locals crew and everyone who came out. I hope you all just had a fun time, right? This event was free for people to enter, right? I paid off the store's entries. I got the product, and I just really, at the end of the day, I hope people had a fun time with not too much stress. Also, shout out to our winner opening the box on camera for y'all to see the big hits. I think out of the other box, the big hit for the rest of the folks that got, you know, top 8 and then participation, I think the biggest hit was the Corazon. Rosinante Gold Dawn was a big one. Love to see that. But for this box, actually was really good. But either one to shout out his friend Pat, aka P Cubed, out of LA, but he got the gold Magellan Don from the box. Really hyped to see that. But going over the hits of the box real quick, we had the Secret Kuzan and 10-drop Luffy. We had a full art Germa Kingdom stage and then a hollow Queen, and then he had the alt art Blocker Law and Katakuri. And then, of course, a full art Virgo, and then the Magellan Gold Dawn. Really nice box. Honestly, I'm glad. But again, shout out to my locals. Shout out to my friends, everyone that came through. I really appreciate it. Hope y'all had fun at the event, and hope y'all enjoyed watching the recap video. I really want to do more of these in the future. So again, any suggestions for different tournaments you want to see, let me know in the comments. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, please, if you want to see more content like this. Supporting me like that really helps me put on more events like this, because again, I tried to make this as stress-free for both the store hosting it and everyone going to it as possible by, you know, putting up as much of, you know, the product as I could and the entry, right? I know the recording could have been better. You know, we're not all professional players. A lot of these people not only haven't been to regionals, but it might have been their first or second time playing the game. So please leave some leniency for people showing out. You know, next time, I just hope to make everything a little bit better and more enjoyable for everybody involved and all of y'all watching. And hopefully the goal is to do this online eventually. You know, if I can get to a point where I'm big enough to provide prizing for an online box tournament for all of y'all watching, that'd be really cool. That'd be really hype. That would be something that I have to really put a lot of time and effort into organizing, so that probably won't be for a while, right? But if that is something you guys are interested in, let me know. But either way, that does it for the Straw Hat Pecan first ever off meta box tournament. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.